Hey, welcome everybody. Desert Gold here. Thought I'd introduce you to another one of my little friends here. Got a very nice revolver here. It's a Ruger, and once I get it out of the wrapper here, I'll show it to you. This is a beautiful Ruger, in my opinion anyway. Ruger Super Red Hawk. This is a 454 Casull. And I don't know if you can see in this light, but they also indicate that this weapon can and does fire the .45 long Colt. It's a well-made, very sturdy, powerful handgun, to the extent where I had to order a Hogue padded grip. When this thing decides to bark, it decides to let the shooter know that it is speaking with authority, and that's what you really expect from a gun like this. I really like this gun. It's a very accurate weapon. It's got the adjustable rear sights for windage and elevation. Front sight is easily picked up with the red markings there. A gun like this requires a very, very well-balanced diet. And by well-balanced diet, I mean something that looks like that. I'm going to show you go through putting together 454 Casull rounds, the load that I use. It's a very hot round. Excellent for hunting, excellent for ultimate self-defense, say against black bears or a multitude of zombies, whatever you want to use with this. I think it would take down anything that is either walking on two legs or four on the surface of this planet with one or two rounds. Okay, all that aside, let me tell you what we're going to start with here. My choice I like is I order my brass from Starline, nickel-plated brass. It's a very, very high quality brass. I like nickel plating. When you're looking for brass on the ground, easy to find, easy to see in the low light. It may or may not be more resistant to corrosion. I like the look of it. The 454 Casull uses a small rifle primer. I mean, this thing won't settle for a small pistol primer or even a large pistol primer. It wants a small rifle primer, and we use small rifle magnum primers if we have them. Also, my choice for bullets, I started using, getting used to it, I used some lead 300 grain flat points. Worked really well. My problem and my concern was that the loads that you would use for lead in order to keep the leading of the barrel down would restrict the velocities that I was looking for. The way I look at it is, if you're going to have a handgun like this, I feel that you're going to want to load it to the specs that the weapon was intended for. And I mean, if you're going to use lead, that's fine. It's helps keep the reloading costs down, and you can get out and target shoot a lot. But when you want to actually get out and feel what the weapon is going to do at full throttle, you're not going to do it with a lead bullet. So my choice, I like Spear. The reason I like Spear's bullets is because they are bonded bullet, and the bonding keeps the core, the lead core, and the jacket together even at higher velocities that you would see in Magnum and weapons like this, the 454 and 500. The one that I'm going to be using tonight is the 454 300 grain deep curl. Just like, if nothing else, I like the name. I think it's going to like open up and make this big deadly blossom or something. Anyway, I know that this round is going to hit hard, and it's going to open up, and the jacket and the core are going to stay together. So that was my reason for that. Loads like this, the powder choices are, there's a number of powder choices. When I'm dealing with, let's say, a round that is going to be of this velocity, this power, the pressures that the case are going to be experiencing when detonated, everything's got to be really right on. So you want a powder that is going to be accurate each time you meter your load for the new cartridge. I started with initially a couple other powders, one of which was 800X. This is a very, very good powder. Problem is that, I'll show you here real quick, or I'm going to try to show you. It is, for lack of a better description, I don't know if you can see it there, it's a flake for all practical purposes. So, I hope you can see this. So when you're metering this, it's like trying to meter cornflakes. You might get 30 grains one time, you might get 32 grains the next time, you might get 28 the third time, and you can't get a consistency with that. And that's a lot of times when you'll see guys with their chronographs out, and they'll see fluctuations in rounds from the same batch of the same batch that they're reloading with. 9 times out of 10, it's that one case has maybe a grain or two different amount of powder in it. My approach to this was to try and figure out a way to get a more uniform metering of a powder. So I went with a really nice H110 is Hodgkin powder. It's a very, very fine ball powder. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you this either, but I mean, that is like sugar. And I guarantee you that every time you pull the charging handle, that you're going to get the same. I'll show you again. See. That meter's consistent every single time. So, why is that important? Well, in the Casull, in the load I'm doing, tonight anyway, I'm going to do a 300 grain, and that would be this. I'm going to use 32.8 grains of H110. At that rate or that volume, if everything goes right, I hope to come out with a nice round like that, and the resulting projectile will be exiting the barrel at over 1,700 feet per second. Take a 300 grain bullet at 1,700 feet per second. I don't know, man. You could clear a neighborhood with that. I don't. Something. Anyway, my point is, in this area, you have to be very, very conscientious about everything. Bullet seating, continuity of the amount of powder going in, primer seating, making sure everything is right with the overall length of the cartridge. I've set up my system already so that I didn't want to bore you with the basics of getting everything lined up for this particular load, but needless to say, everything as far as the dies are in their right position. I've already run through a couple of cases and got it to the 32.8. Now, I'm going to tell you another little observation that I've made as we load here. Let's start with, this is a brand new Starline nickel-plated brass case, 454 Casull unfired. I'm going to go ahead and place it in station 1. And we're going to go ahead and now